Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is our 61st annual general meeting, and I'd like to start by acknowledging that the Niagara Peninsula watershed is located on traditional territory of Indigenous peoples dating back countless generations. We want to show our respect for their contributions and recognize the role of treaty making in what is now Ontario. At this time, we have the opportunity of the adoption of the agenda for this annual general meeting. Are there any additions of items in for this agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, are there any changes in order of the items on the agenda? I have a motion here moved by Member Brady, seconded by Member Fior, that the agenda for the NPCA's 61st Annual General Meeting held on Wednesday, January 15th, 2020 be approved as presented. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And it's carried. Members, are there any conflicts of interest? None noted, Mr. Clerk. At this time, I'd like to thank you all for coming to this annual general meeting. There's one guest that I'd like to acknowledge in attendance, and that is our auditor, Ms. Lois Wallet from KPMG. Thank you very much for attending this meeting. Number 4 is the conclusion of 2019 business, and I have a motion moved by Member Brady and seconded by Member Cridland that the Board of Directors conclude the business of 2019 and further that the chair be declared vacant. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. At this time, I will pass the chair over to our CAO, and so just by way of introduction, Ms. Chandra Sharma is the new CAO, and so this is her first meeting, and so it's with great delight that she gets to take this chair in this momentous occasion, so thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I will now call the meeting to order, but before I do that, I just wanted to say how delighted I am to be here working with you, and I'm looking forward to a very successful year. I've looked at our performance in 2019. We've done some amazing things together, and we have a wonderful team of staff and very engaged board, and I'm really looking forward to working with the community, our stakeholders, board members, and staff to take this organization forward. I'm not going to give a big speech, but I just wanted to start by saying how delighted I am to be here working with all of you, and this is a great place to be for all of us. So with that, I'm going to do the roll call now. Can I please ask the members to briefly introduce themselves and which municipality they represent? So starting from my right here.
Diana Houston, the town of Pelham.
Brian Wright, municipality of Hamilton.
Mel Woodhouse, City of Thorold.
Dave Bilsma, the municipality of Niagara.
Rob Shurton, Haldeman County.
John Metcalf, Haldeman County.
Ed Smith, St. Catharines.
Brenda Johnson, City of Hamilton.
Elgin, Port Colborne.
Robert Foster from the region of Niagara. Oops, there.
Rick Brady, the City of Niagara Falls.
Thanks, Rick.
Stuart Beatty, the great city of Hamilton.
Just to you, Madam Chair, Bill Steele was on CHCH this morning talking about a variety of things with Port Colborne. He said he would be a few minutes late. So as we're proceeding into things, it'd be my request we wait until Bill gets here. He should be here shortly. So.
Okay, so with that, we were aware that Mr. Steele will be coming a little later. If he's on his way, if members are okay, I will ask for a motion to recess for 5 minutes and restart when Mr. Steele is here. Is that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a quorum. We've been conducted as an official meeting. I would say we go on. We have the majority of people here waiting for one individual. I just don't think it's appropriate.
If you're putting a motion forward, then we can have a vote on that, and if the motion is defeated, we'll carry on with our regular meeting. We do have a quorum, I understand that. Thank you. Mr. Shurton.
Yes. I will, being the importance of this vote, we have a full gallery here. I think waiting 5-10 minutes, I'll second Mr. Member Foster's motion.
Thank you. So we have a are you moving the motion? And we have a seconder. All in favor? Against? Motion carried. Thank you. Do I need to do a roll call with him? I'm calling the meeting to order. Can I have the audience in the gallery, guests in the gallery, please be quiet? Okay. Welcome, Member Steele. Can you please say your name and which municipality you come from?
Sorry, I apologize being late. I was on CHCH this morning, so I raced here from Hamilton. Member Bill Steele, representing the city of Port Palmer.
Thank you. So I'm going to read the procedures again. I know they're all in the bylaw, but it's important for me to do that. And after that, we will proceed with our elections. So nominations will be called 3 times and will only require a mover for the chair and vice chair. The closing of nominations will require both a mover and a seconder. Each board member nominated will be asked if they will accept the nomination. The board member must be present to accept the nomination. In the event of an election, each nominee will be permitted not more than 3 minutes to speak for the office in the order of alphabetical listing for his or her surname. Upon the acceptance of nominees for the position of office, ballots will be distributed to the board members for the purpose of election. A member's choice for a nominee will be written on the ballot, and the appointed scrutineers for the counting of the ballots will collect the ballots. A majority vote will be required for election. If there are more than 2 nominees, and upon the first vote, no nominee receives the majority required for the election, the name of the person with the least number of votes will be removed from further consideration for the office, and new ballots will be distributed. In the case of a vote where no nominee receives the majority required for the election, and where 2 or more nominees are listed with the least number of votes, a special vote shall be taken to decide which of the such tied nominees' names shall be dropped from the list of names to be voted on in the next vote. Should there be a tie vote between 2 remaining candidates, new ballots will be distributed and a second vote held. Should there still be a tie after the second ballot, a third vote shall be held. Should there be a tie after the third vote, the election of the office shall be decided by a lot drawn by the CAO. Thank you. You've just given me a lot of power. I just stepped in my 10th day. Thank you. I will now proceed with the appointment of scrutineers. First, I have a motion to appoint scrutineers. Can I get a mover and seconder to appoint, we do have here, to Darren McKenzie and Grant Biball. Moved by Donna Kirkland and seconded by Rob Foster. All in favor? Against? Moved. Thank you. Now I will, you cannot disrupt, I'm sorry. Now I will call for the nominations of board chair. Nominations are now in order for the chair position of the board. At this point, I would like to call for nominations for the first time. As per our regulations, we will only need a mover for this purpose. Are there any nominations for the chair position?
Is this self-nominations you're looking for, or you're looking for?
No, someone needs to nominate the person.
Okay.
Yes,
I would like to nominate Ken Kewall.
thank you. Mr. Kewal, Member Kewal, would you accept the office or nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Thank you. I'm going to do a second call for nominations now. Are there any further nominations? Leah?
I would like to nominate Member Brady.
Thank you. Member Brady, would you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations? Sorry, Mr. Sheridan?
Two things. We had one member that just arrived who wasn't introduced. Maybe we should do that before we call the vote. And also, I'd like to nominate Member Dave Blausma.
Member Basma, would you accept the nomination?
I do.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations?
I'd like to nominate Brenda Johnson.
Thank you. Member Johnson, would you accept the nomination? Thank you. Are there any further nominations? No. There are no further nominations at this point. I would pause and get our new member who just walked in to introduce themselves.
Sorry, thank you. Deborah Kuhn-Peterson, representing West Lincoln.
Thank you. So now I will close the nominations, seeing there are no further nominations for the chair. I need a mover and seconder to close those 4 nominations. Member Woodhouse, seconded by Member Foster. Thank you. So at this point, I would like to advise that each member will be given 3 minutes to speak or address the board, and I will call our members by order of alphabetical order. Member Brady, can I please ask you to go first? I think it will be a good idea for you to go to the podium.
Thank you. As of March 6, 2020, I'll be retiring from the town of Fort Erie and as the Director of Planning and Development. This will provide me the opportunity to be involved in the NPCA matters on a full-time basis. My background, both academically and as a practitioner, is in environmental planning and planning in Ontario. For approximately 40 years, I've been involved in many aspects of environmental planning. I've set up and ran postgraduate programs on environmental management at Niagara College. I set up and ran the Environmental Advisory Committee for the Niagara region when I was there as a planner. And today, Fort Erie, I believe, is the only municipality that continues to have an Environmental Advisory Committee under my watch. I've worked for various NGOs, provided them with pro bono advice on a wide variety of planning matters, and most notably on natural heritage protection. I was the president of the Niagara Falls Nature Club. I was the chairman of Ducks Unlimited. As a consultant, I provided advice and studies on a variety of municipalities as well as a number of conservation authorities. One of my earliest works in Niagara was a study in 1979 through to 1980, which inventoried the natural environment areas. That study, which is, I will admit, a bit out of date, is still cited in many natural heritage studies and environmental impact statements. My leadership skills have led me to senior leadership positions in municipalities, at Niagara College, with NGOs, and at the YMCA and the Rotary Club. I believe it's fair to say that I'm well known as an advocate for sound environmental stewardship within Niagara and to a degree within Ontario. I've spoken at many conferences on these topics. Lastly, and I can tell you, I know how to run a meeting, and working towards consensus on matters with large and diversified groups, which I think is important in this case. Throughout my career, I have consistently been an advocate for sound environmental conservation, and I also have the academic background to advise appropriately. Thank you.
Member Bilsma.
Members of the board, I ask your indulgence for considering me for a second year as chair of the organization. I am seeking the position for two main reasons, which I will present to you now. I hold a degree in civil engineering from McMaster University. Some of my courses and studies included stormwater management, floodplain mapping, and flood modeling, precisely in line with the stated mandate of the Conservation Authority. During those same years, I went to Northern Ontario to plant trees. 180,000 trees around Hearst, Kapuskasing, Timmins have my fingerprints on them. I concluded a trip across our nation by attending a peace camp near Tofino, Vancouver Island, which was set up to protest the harvesting of old-growth forest of Clayoquot Sound. I've been doing this for well more than 30 years. To this day, I own, manage, and increase the biodiversity of 100 acres of old-growth Carolinian forest. Perhaps I may be a study in contrast, but I prefer the title of complete package. I am a good chair. Those who have held the office of chair can attest that it's easy to conduct meetings when all the members think alike. But to achieve what this board has accomplished in stabilizing this conservation authority in 1 year is remarkable. If one considers that we had 3 iterations and orientations of the board, the implications of Bill 108, amalgamation, and the diversity of opinion amongst 21 members, it's extraordinary what we have achieved. We inherited an Auditor General report, met and implemented over 80% of it. We inherited more than a dozen HR files, serious ones. Today, 0. We tackled governance issues like whistleblowing, board expenses, and code of conduct changes. We formed partnerships with allies and treated our funding municipalities with respect. We hired a new CAO. I attended over 80 meetings, missed only 1. I enjoyed the majority of the programs hosted by our staff, like BioBlitz, the Water Festival, and the award-winning Tree Top Trekking. I've held every member of this board and every staff member with the highest respect. I do not deserve that. I am a good chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Bilsma. Can I ask Member Johnson to address the board now?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brenda Johnson, and I'm from the City of Hamilton. Prior to becoming councillor of the City of Hamilton, I worked at Environment Hamilton as a project manager. Since I become the councillor of City of Hamilton, I have chaired many standing committees. I have been known to treat members of the committee, the public, and the staff equally, fairly, and reasonably. I'm always procedurally sound in my decisions. I put the good of the committee and the organization first and always first at all times. Therefore, I believe I would be an excellent chair for the NPCA. And by the way, I had no idea I was going to be speaking today, so that was on the cuff. Good luck to everyone, by the way.
Good morning, Board. As a retired senior executive with both private and public sector experience, as well as significant board experience and as a citizen of the town of Lincoln with a strong interest in the environment, I believe I have the time plus the skills and experience that can help the NPCA continue its transformation into a well-respected and highly effective conservation authority. Since 2004, I have volunteered with environmental organizations helping restoration programs on public lands in both my former community and in the town of Lincoln, where I've lived since 2008. I also am a volunteer treasurer for an environmental educational charity, Ontario Green. I have 40 years of senior management experience in both the private and public sectors, having worked as an assistant deputy minister in the Ontario government and as a senior vice president in operations, financial management, and customer service for private sector companies. This executive business experience will be helpful in supporting our new CAO and the NPCA's goals. I also have local board experience. I joined the board of Niagara Health in 2013 following the public and provincial loss of confidence in the hospital system that resulted in the board being dismissed and a provincial supervisor being appointed. As a new board, we engaged in substantial public consultation, delivered a new strategic plan, improved governance, and helped restore public trust in that organization. I believe that turnaround experience is relevant to the challenges facing the NPCA. In addition, I have experience as a director of a provincial waste management, enforcement, and compliance authority that operates under a provincial mandate. Over the last 2.5 years, we have implemented new environmental legislation and regulations under the Ministry of Environment, Conservation, and Parks for both the Progressive Conservative and Liberal governments. This experience might be very helpful to the NPCA in adapting to new proposed legislative changes for conservation authorities. And finally, my expertise as a chartered professional accountant will be helpful in ensuring the financial sustainability of the NPCA. The organization has achieved many significant successes in 2019, and the board needs to be congratulated for stabilizing the organization and addressing critical governance and operational issues. We need to continue building on these successful achievements to address the challenges ahead of us, from the impacts of growth to hazards caused by climate change, to improving our surface water quality and forest condition, and enhancing enforcement. Meeting these challenges will require us to leverage the skills and experience of our board members and staff and to be innovative in our programs and partnerships. Above all, it will require strong leadership. This is an exciting time for the NPCA and one I think is filled with much optimism. As the chair, my goals will be to support our new CAO in leading the organization, to help craft a vision and strategic direction that all board members can own, to focus our priorities on enforcement, watershed management and restoration, stakeholder relations, responding to climate change challenges, and financial sustainability. That is an ambitious agenda that can only be accomplished by harnessing the talent and passion of all board members, and I will work collaboratively to make it an inclusive, respectful, and well-functioning board. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all 4 members. Voting for the chair position will begin now. I'll ask the scrutineers to please distribute the ballots. I will also request the board members to make sure they print clearly and ensure both the first and last names are noted on the ballot. Thank you. Can I have your attention, please? So the first round of votes are in, and at this point, I'm declaring that the three candidates that are moving to the second round are Mr. Brady, Ms. Johnson, and Mr. Cavall. Thank you. I will now ask the scrutineers to distribute the ballot for the second round. So the votes are in for the second round, and we have a tie between two members, and the third member goes to the third round. So we will have to run another round with Member Brady and Member Kwal to decide who's going to go to the third round. So we have a tie right now between two members, Member Kwal and Member Brady. Brenda, you are moving to the next round, so we will have to do another round of voting to decide who goes with you to the next round. That's how the bylaw is set, so we will have another. Pardon? I don't have a clear majority right now.
Yeah, that's
Exactly, yeah, I would not have proposed that if I had a clear majority.
So to break the tie, we're only voting with,
You're only
Rick
going to
or-
be voting for Mr. Brady and Mr. Kwal.
Thank you.
In this round. Thank you. Can I have your attention, please? We have completed the ballot now, and the results are showing that Mr. Brady is moving to the next round with Ms. Johnson. Thank you, Mr. Kewal. I will now ask the scrutineers to distribute the ballot. Can I have your attention, please? So the results of the final ballot for the chair positions are in now. And I would like to congratulate Member Johnson. You are elected as the 2020 chair for NPCA. Member Johnson, at the end of this meeting, will give you an opportunity to address the board. Yeah. You will have a few minutes to think what you want to say.
What I've done is a motion to formally
think we should. I have a motion in front of me based on these elections that Member Brenda Johnson be appointed as the chair of the Board of Directors for the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority for the year 2020. I need a mover and seconder for this. Member Brady is moving it. Member Bilsma is seconding it. So, thank you. All in favor? Oppose? Carried. Thank you. Nominations are now in order for the vice chair position. At this point, I would like to call for nominations. And I just want to remind you, I only need a mover for this purpose. Are there any nominations for the chair of vice chair position? Sorry, Member Rapley. Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. Would you accept the nomination? Yes. Thank you. Are there any further nominations, Member Johnson?
I'd like to nominate Diana Husson, please.
Thank you. Member Houston, would you accept the nomination? Thank you. Are there any further nominations? Member Halinga. Mr. Ingrill, would you withdraw? Okay, Member. Okay. Are there any further nominations? Leah.
I'd like to nominate Member Brady.
Member Brady, would you accept the nomination? Thank you. Are there any further nominations for the position of vice chair? Okay, now that there are no further nominations, I need a mover and seconder for these nominations. Moved by Member Steele, seconded by Member Schutton. All in favor? Oppose? Carried. I will now ask the scrutineers to distribute the ballot for first round of voting. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, you do. I thought you can just pass that, yeah, and we can save some time, but okay. We will do this in the order of alphabetical order. Mr. Brady?
I'm not going to repeat what I said a few minutes ago. I'm sure all of you are more than able to remember the few comments that I made earlier. I think it's important that I be considered for this particular position. I think I can bring the kind of credibility that we need in our leadership positions to that position. I think that that's important in the days that we're moving forward into. And I also think that my past leadership in many of the spots which I had spoken to you earlier will work with this board, and I'll certainly support Brenda in the manners that are required. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Brady. Member Houston, you're next.
Is it on? Thank you. It's been my privilege to serve as your vice chair for 2019. Just as briefly, my professional background, I've worked over 10 years in the public sector in a management position. I've focused on customer service. We've had to adhere to the principles of the Freedom of Information and the Protection of Privacy Act, so it's an environment I'm very familiar with. I have a master's degree in public policy. I also have a master's of business administration degree. During my term as vice chair, I was instrumental in helping our organization attain new leadership and a change in direction. I was also successful in reestablishing our restoration program and brought attention to the need to restore our relationship with OPG. As vice chair, I've also attended the Conservation Ontario meetings, collaborated with our Conservation Authority partners, and helped develop and repair municipal relationships in Niagara. I've continued to work towards reinforcing our board as a team where we can demonstrate respect, professionalism, and commitment. I will never lobby for your vote behind closed doors. I hold our democratic processes in high regard, and I believe those conversations should be public and at the board table. My goals moving forward would be to continue focusing our organization on the work of the authority and the needs of our watershed. 2020 brings with it a potential challenge to our mandate that's uncertain. We're under a microscope, and developers have been successful in convincing our provincial government that we are an impediment to development. We need to work together and pull together to convince them otherwise. So my vision for our board is to create a space where we can be passionate, to express diverse opinions, to trust and treat others with respect and honesty. I want our focus to be on creativity and innovation, empowerment, to respect diversity of thought, where we can inspire one another to achieve great things, not only for ourselves, but for our communities and for this organization. And I'd like to thank you for your consideration.
Member McKenzie.
Thank you. I'm humbled today to be able to speak to you and ask for your support as I look forward to being the vice chair of this esteemed organization. I'm very proud to have been part of this board in the last year, as the board has accomplished so much and provided a new foundation for this conservation authority. Myself, I describe myself as an active naturalist. I've worked with the Hamilton Conservation Authority since 1976 in some rather unique positions. I had the opportunity of managing a large marina for the Conservation Authority on the south shore of Lake Ontario and became involved with the industry association known as the Ontario Marine Operators Association. I was the first municipal government-run marina representative to become president of that organization. I'm a past president of the Hamilton Naturalist Club. I was one of the founding directors of the Peninsula Hawk Watch. I believe in the need of conservation areas and public natural areas close to where people live. Land acquisition of these natural areas is very important to me. I live by the belief that our mental and physical health benefits tremendously by people being in nature and nature being available to people. I believe I can be a fine representative of the NPCA. I have extensive experience speaking to public groups, committees, and boards. Recently, I was honored with receiving the Latrinel Leadership Award from Conservation Ontario. My first exposure to this board and Conservation Authority when I was presented with the Right Honorable John Turner Water and Environmental Leadership Award. And in December of this year, I was selected as Citizen of the Year in Grimsby by the Chamber of Commerce. I'm proud of my accomplishments, and I hope to bring my skills to this agency. Thank you.
Thank you, Member McKenzie. Voting for the vice chair position will begin now. I'll ask the scrutineers to distribute the ballot for the first round of voting. Can I have your attention, please? The votes are in for the first round of vice chair position. And the members that are moving to the second round are Member Hewson and Member McKenzie. Thank you. Can I please ask the scrutineers to distribute the ballot for the second round? I know you must be tired by now.
Getting my steps in.
Hewson, did I say? Can I have your attention, please? The results for the second round of vice chair elections are in, and Member McKenzie has been elected as the vice chair. So I would like to. I have a motion to confirm this, that that Mr. Bruce McKenzie be appointed as the Vice Chair for the Board of Directors of Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority for 2020, moved by Member Diana Hewson, seconded by Lay. Thank you. Yes. All in favor? Oppose? Carried. I now congratulations, Member McKenzie. I will now have a motion to destroy the ballot as per our bylaw.
I think we passed it.
So that,
I don't know if you read it as such, but it was part.
no, I haven't.
Okay.
Okay, so I do have a motion. Sorry, you are not the destroyer on this. Further that all ballots be destroyed after the election. So it was passed already. So you had the full motion. So we don't need a motion anymore. Thank you. At this point, I would like to thank you for allowing me to carry the elections. I want to congratulate everyone who put their foot forward and also thank our chair and vice chair, Member Bilsma, Chair Bilsma, former Chair Houston, for your service to the organization. I know that you have worked really hard. You have put your heart in this organization, and the reason why we are standing today looking really good to the community is because of your hard work and the support of staff and their hard work. So I really want to give them a big round of applause. For the rest of the business of this meeting, I will now hand over the responsibility to our newly elected chair, Member Johnson. Please come and accept this responsibility. I do.
Just bear with me for a second. While Ed was talking to me, I was trying to get a few notes in. First of all, I want to thank you for your confidence in allowing me to do this job for the next year. I'm really looking forward to working more closely with this amazing staff that we have, and you are amazing. I also want to take the time to thank both Dave and Diana for all the hard work you've done. You've taken us through some really challenging times, and I can't thank you enough, and you have my most admiration. Thank you so much to both of you. Chandra, thank you for being baptism by fire today. I'm really excited to be working with Chandra, and anybody who is on the selection committee would tell you that Chandra comes with a whole slew of skill sets, and we're really looking forward to being under her leadership for the next, hopefully a long, long time. Just to put one last thing in, I'm not interested in the past, folks. We dealt with the past. I'm more focused on today and what we're going to do tomorrow. Let's get to work. And Ed, I don't know if you are going to miss me down there. Maybe we'll move you up here. But I'll find somebody more fun to sit beside you. Well, that's all right. I'll send Grant down to slap you. That's fine. So, where are we?
Appointment to Conservation Ontario.
Thank you. Appointment to the Conservation of Ontario for 2020. Conservation Ontario represents the Association of 36 conservation authorities in Ontario. It is the practice of the NPCA to request the chair and/or his or her designate and the Chief Administration Officer to represent the NPCA on a Conservation Ontario's committees and council. It is recommended that the 2020 chair of the NPCA or his or her designate be appointed as the authority's voting delegate to Conservation Ontario, and further that the Chief Administrative Officer be the alternate delegate. So we have a mover and a seconder. Okay. God, you guys have the handwriting of a serial killer. Anyway. So it's moved by Member Halinga and seconded by Member Foster that the 2020 Chair of NPCA and/or his designate be appointed as the authority's voting delegate at the Conservation of Ontario, and further that the Chief Administrative Officer be the alternate delegate. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. So now we have appointment to the Audit and Budget Committee, correct? Oh, sorry, that the Chief Administrative Officer, Chandra Sharma, and is there anyone here, by the way, it says the chair, but is there anyone here that's interested and just, we could put it under some advisement to be the designate at the NPCA or at the Conservation Ontario? Member Foster. Foundation. Or Foundation.
Yes, I would like to continue on the foundation. I have been designated for last year, so I would like to continue for that.
All right, so it's moved by, and I'm just going to read the motion forward because we do have a mover and seconder. We will insert your name and then we can have a discussion if anybody else wants to volunteer. So it's moved by Member Cridlin and seconded by Member Fior that the CAO, Chandra Sharma and Robert Foster, be appointed to the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Foundation for 2020. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. And then we have, is this one? Thank you. Appointment to the Audit and Budget Committee, and it's moved by Member Kaywall and Member Shurton that the following board members be appointed to the Audit and Budget Committee for 2020. Stu Beattie, Robert Foster, Ken Kaywall, Bruce McKenzie, William Steele, Brian Wright. Anyone else wants to add? Okay. Just a quick question to the staff, please. Does this mean that our membership has to increase, or we're fine where we are? Thank you. So Brian Wright now is withdrawn. So we have the 5 that I had mentioned. Yes, sir. Okay. So Mr. Woodhouse. All right. So we have Member Beattie, Member Foster, Member Kaywell, Member McKenzie, Member Steele, and Member Woodhouse to be appointed to the Audit and Budget Committee for 2020. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Then we have the following. It's moved by Member Smith and seconded by Member Kaywell that the following members be appointed to the Governance Committee for 2020. Member Brady, Member Foster, Member Ingrero, Member Kaywall, Member McKenzie, Member Steele, Member Clark, Member Smith. Yes, Mr. Member or Vice Chair McKenzie. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Any others? You want to be on the, thank you. So the list I mentioned before is now missing, or we've taken off Member McKenzie, Member Steele, but we've added Member Woodhouse. Is this okay for? Yes, sir. It says that Mr. Clark is to be appointed to the committee. Okay? His name is in here. I don't know if he put it in here. We've all told him, but he's in here. So any other, yes, he did ask for it. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. So I can't move this one, so we're going to ask Member Hewson, if you don't mind. Moved by Member Hewson and seconded by Member Smith that the following members be appointed to the Strategic Planning Committee for 2020. Member Beattie, Member Brady, Member Halinga, Member Kaywall, Member McKenzie, Member Rapley, Member Wright, Member Smith. Any discussion? Okay. All right. Any other discussions? And Member Woodhouse would also like to be on there. Any other discussions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Am I just going to keep doing this? Because I'm not even looking at this one, sorry.
Yeah, we are done.
So now we have the we have the signing officers. So that the authorities chair, Brenda Johnson, and vice chair, Bruce McKenzie, I gotta write that down. The chief administrative officer, secretary treasurer, Chandra Sharma, and the director corporate services, Lee Scanyon, and any two of them are hereby authorized to sign, make, draw, accept, endorse, and deliver checks, promissory notes, bills of exchange, orders for the payment of money, and such agreements and instruments as may be necessary or useful in connection with the operation of the said account. And further that, any one of the above-mentioned officers is hereby authorized for and in the name of the organization to endorse and transfer to the bank for deposit or discount with or collection by the bank, but for the credit of the organization only, checks, promissory notes, bills of exchange, orders for the payment of money, and other instruments to arrange, settle, balance, and certify all books and accounts with the bank, and to sign receipts for voucher. Everybody got that? All those in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none, it's unanimous. Okay. So we have moved by member Wright, second by member, thank you, Woodhouse, that the report FA-01-20 Board of Directors meetings schedule be received, that Appendix 1 to report number FA-01-20, re, the 2020 Board of Directors meeting schedule be implemented, and 3, that the meeting schedule be made available to the NPCA website and provided to the participating and local area municipalities. Any discussion? Yes.
I'd actually like to move to amend the meeting time to 1 p.m. I think that can result in some cost savings to the organization and that we're not required to buy lunches for everyone. And I think it would allow for greater participation, but it also would, I think, encourage the meeting to finish, let's say, before going on too long. Our meetings tend to start late. 9:30 is, I would say, is a late time for a meeting, and they tend to go past lunch for another, sometimes 2 to 3 hours. So I think if we were to move it to the afternoon, it could help shorten the meetings.
So I believe this is a governance issue. So would you like to forward that motion to the governance for review and then come back with their recommendations after they've talked it over with staff?
Does it have to go to governance? Do we not make a decision here and then the committee would know what the schedule is?
Okay. I'm thinking it's governance, but I will put the floor open to anyone else who wants to comment. Councillor or Member Shurton.
Okay, this puts me back in Haldeman here, just to give you a little bit of reflection, but we used to have our council meetings on Tuesday, or on Mondays, and I always felt Mondays, it's tough after the weekend, staff's been off, we don't always get our agendas on the Friday, so I made the motion to put it through to Tuesday, and it was basically council, so my thoughts are, it's the board members here that will make that decision, and not the governance, but otherwise, we're going to have a meeting or two before the decision is made. So I would support Diana's motion.
So you're seconding it? Thank you. Any other discussion? Member Kaywell.
It's my understanding that historically these meetings were actually in the evening, and if we're considering moving the meetings, I think we should also look at moving it to an evening time. I support what Member Houston said about the lunches, but I'm also concerned that during the day, members of the public who want to participate don't have that opportunity. So I actually support it being sent back to the governance committee to actually sort out the different options that may be available. So.
Thank you. And just to reiterate, governance just makes recommendations. It's up to you to decide whether or not to agree. There was a hand up over here. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
If the meetings are moved to the afternoon, I will withdraw from the Board of Directors permanently because of my work schedule.
Okay, thank you. Member Brady? I know he does that all the time.
I would agree with the member, Kewal. This is an issue that the governance committee should take a look at and bring back a recommendation. I really don't like making these kinds of decisions just on the fly.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Member Beatty.
I look to staff for some input because if I remember correctly, when the membership to this board was posted way back when, and we all decided to jump into this situation. I think the meetings were stipulated as 9:30 on the third Wednesday. So that was advertised. We all came to this board knowing that that's the meeting schedule. We made commitments based on that, and you sort of organize your life for the next 4 years so that you're here. So I'm not supporting any of it. I'll stay with the 9:30. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go back to Member Houston, and it was seconded by, I believe, Member Shurton. So are you willing to amend your motion, or do you want to let it stand that we move it to the afternoon?
So in hearing the feedback of board members, I'd like to send it to governance for consideration and a recommendation.
For meetings and meeting times. Member Shurton, are you okay with that?
I'll second that.
Okay, so we've got discussion on the floor. Member McKenzie.
I'd like further consideration of just going to staff for a report to go to the governance committee.
Okay, so everybody, I think this motion now is that this motion will be sent to the governance committee to take a look at the times and the dates of the meetings. Correct? All those in favor? Any opposed? One. Councillor Member Beatty. Sorry?
So just for clarification, Chair, our next meeting that's scheduled is 9:30.
Absolutely.
Just throwing that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so you've got the new motion that just went through, correct? Member Beatty.
I have another question on the meeting schedule once you process. Thank you.
Okay, so right now we need to move the meeting schedule as is right now after we've just done the amendment, but it's not been amended. So that was moved. Sorry, I think I just gave it over to you. Member Wright and Member Woodhouse, that the meeting schedule stands as is until it comes back from governments with recommendations. All those in favor? Okay, we got discussion. Sorry, my apologies. Member Beatty.
I would like, if we're sending it there, I would ask that the July meeting be moved to August. And that's a personal, and if the board can accommodate that, we have one meeting in the summer, and I don't see why we can't have it in August and not July. Thank
So
you.
we'll treat this as a second, a motion, please. So it's moved by yourself. Do we have a seconder to look at the summer schedule? Member Brady is seconding it. Any other conversation? Thank you. Member Foster.
Unfortunately, every one of the politicians that are in here are screwed with that. AMO conference is going on at that particular point in time if we move it off to August. So I'm not in favor of shifting that date.
Okay, it's just to ask for it to be looked at. So anything else? So all those in favor, it's been moved by Member Beatty, seconded by Member Brady, that the summer schedule be sent to governance for review. All those in favor? Any opposed? We have Member Cridlin, Fior, no, sorry, not Fior, Foster, Kaywell, and I didn't see, and Member Bismuth. Thank you, everyone. The same one? We just did that one. Okay.
So now we have Renee is going to start the presentation.
So we now have a video presentation for the 2019 year-end review presentation that our friend Renee is going to help us out with.
Thank you,
Good morning.
Chair.
Is it still morning?
Yes, I do apologize. On the agenda, there was supposed to be a video presentation scheduled highlighting our staff. However, we caught a small edit that needed to be done, and we weren't able to have it completed in time for the meeting. So you will enjoy that video presentation at your February meeting. As for our year-end review, 2019 was notably a year of tremendous growth for the NPCA. The following video is a tradition at our annual general meeting. It is an opportunity to look back and give credit to all of the volunteers, community partners, staff, and members of the board who worked hard to make this happen for the residents of Niagara, City of Hamilton, and Haldimand County. Please note this presentation was pulled together by Communications Department using highlights provided by each department. Let us celebrate these successes today with the clear understanding that our work is far from done and that there is much, much more to accomplish together as we look towards a greener future. Please enjoy.
Thank you very much. What a nice positive way to finish off the meeting. So, any other comments? Thank you. I'm not going to do closing remarks because you heard my opening remarks. They just stand as ditto. So I do need actually to go, we need to go into closed session so that the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Niagara Conservation Authority convene in closed session at 11:06, and it's moved by Member Metcalf and, okay, you guys have to print. Woodhouse, sorry. All those in favor? And this is, thank you, any opposed? And this is in accordance with section 11.1 of the NPCA Administrative Bylaw for the discussion on personal matters about identifiable individuals, including NPCA employees. Thank you, everyone. Can we please clear the room? That includes all your personal belongings too, please. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, folks, we're ready to go. Can you please have a seat? Bring your food with you. We're ready to reconvene so we can adjourn. We're just reconvening to adjourn. So just give me 2 seconds. We can adjourn and then we can continue your networking and socialization. You're damn right. Me too. It's moved by Member Shurton and seconded by Member Metcalf that we adjourn. Before we do, just wanted for the public record that the board received information about personnel matters and it's to stay confidential. So it will be adjourned at, I'm going by his clock here, 11:23, and it says 8 p.m. a.m. Thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? We're good. Thank you very much, everyone.